This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing.
Welcome to another episode of Tough Talk Tuesday. As always, I'm your host, Lucas Biggers. Alongside me, Robert Alexander. How's it going, Rob?
What's up, y'all? What's up?
All right, let's talk automatically here about Fury Chisora. TKOs him. I mean, we all kind of saw it happening, but one, how did he look? Two, he calls out Usyk after that. Is that going to be a fight that happens? Speak on it.
So, Tyson Fury is back like he never left, okay? He's back like he never left. He shouldn't retire. He should have never even hinted at the word retirement. The man is a fighter. Been a fighter his whole life. And, yeah, we knew it was going to be easy work, Lucas. We did. We knew it was going to be easy work.
Yeah,
but he destroyed him, man. He destroyed him. And if Chisora ever had an argument to fight him 3 times, which a lot of people believe he didn't, but that has finally ended.
I didn't. Yeah, I mean, it was pretty one-sided. I mean, I'm surprised it took him to the 10th to get him out of there. So,
but he beat him up badly the whole entire fight. Now that's one topic. But go ahead. What were you going to say?
Well, I mean, he beat him up bad because, you know, when you're training for a fight, right, you have something to worry about. What do you think they were worried about with Chisora?
Well, yeah, they didn't want to get knocked out either.
Yeah,
you know?
So
Chisora has power, but let's face it, skills not really there. He throws too wildly. He throws too heavily. He's not. His footing isn't really there. He can't keep up with guys. I mean, he fought Usyk to a 12-round battle. You know, he did fight Usyk to a 12-round battle. So he's always a game opponent. But Tyson Fury beat him up. Period.
For sure.
If there ever could be an assault charge and battery charge in the ring, he should have got one that night.
Yeah, I mean, he's always he's always that way. But he did that same thing to Wilder. You know, I think he prolongs the beating. You know what I mean? Like, I think he could have ended Wilder sooner. I think he could have ended Chisora sooner. I think he likes playing with him a little bit in the ring. You know.
Well, he's more talented. You know, he's more skilled than these guys. He can afford to box around a little bit. He definitely can. Wilder though. I think Wilder is a lot more harder puncher and a lot more calculated puncher than Chisora. The skills are about the same, but as far as the calculation, the accuracy, the harder of punches and everything, I think Wilder is better in that regard.
Yeah, for sure.
But then we talk about this situation afterwards. So we need to talk about first what happened in the fight. Man, come on now. He only fought 1 time this year, right? So how is there another issue with needing elbow surgery again? I mean, that to me is a bigger issue. I understand he wants to fight with Usyk. And that's the biggest draw in boxing. Now, I give him credit for calling Usyk out. I give Usyk credit for being there. Looks like he's willing to accept the challenge. So that's huge. But now we're going to get it even more delayed because Fury has to have yet again another surgery on the elbow. He was out predominantly for most of the year because he had elbow surgery in his last bout with Wilder. What's going on with that elbow injury, Lucas?
You know, I don't know. Why are you going to call somebody out and then be like, well, I got to have elbow surgery? So, I mean, it could be the end of 2023 before we see this fight, if we see it even in 2023.
So, Fury's saying that recovery time, which he should know, but he's saying it's only a 6 to 8 week recovery time. He's saying he didn't have anything patted down for next year until springtime anyway, which we should get some key fights coming up at the beginning of the year next year and going into May, and going into the summertime and everything. So a springtime bout, I'm okay with. But he's also looking at fighting, it sounds like, twice next year. So he said one of them being Usyk and the other one being Joyce. So he said either one, Usyk can get it first. If Usyk doesn't and that falls through or whatever, he'll go with Joyce. But Joyce is an undefeated fighter in the heavyweight division. He's a top contender. You got to give Fury credit for calling out at least the top contender and the number one champion in the division right now. Well, I guess according to Fury, he's number 2 in the division.
Yeah, I don't know about Joyce. I don't really necessarily want to see that fight, at least not right now. I got to see the Usyk fight, and for me, I don't know. I think that one's a close fight. I mean, if Usyk was just bigger, honestly, I would back Usyk 100%. I think skill wise, Usyk may have him, but it's not by a lot. I mean, Fury's very talented, and he does definitely throw different looks at you. Boxing's all about styles, and unfortunately for Usyk, Fury has a lot of different styles, right? I mean, he gets inside, makes it ugly, stays outside and boxes. He kind of can lean on you too, like the Klitschko does. He does a little bit of everything, and he does it all well.
I don't know. I really do think they both present challenges for each other. Which you're supposed to when you're the top 2 dogs in the division. I think they do. I think Usyk is more disciplined in his training and his cardio, and especially in his conditioning. I think he can present him a problem with conditioning. The major issue that I have at Usyk at the heavyweight division is when you carry such lower weight in the ring with you, you need to let your hands go more. You need to throw more punches. You need to be faster, quicker in there than your opponent so you can land more punches, give up more pressure. And I don't feel like he does that enough to combat a guy like Fury, because with Fury, he's going to need to get him off of him. He's not going to want him to lean on him and put that weight on him and do all that stuff he normally does.
See, I agree and disagree at the same time. I think he kind of matches the pace of the fight of the other, fighter across from him. He kind of throws when the other guy's throwing, so he tries to counter more than anything with Usyk. But that's what he did in the last 2 Joshua fights, anyway.
You can't with Fury. You can't. You need to be all quicker.
You can, but the question is, does Usyk have enough power to keep Fury honest?
It's not the power, speed. There's power and speed. Period. There's power and speed.
He's quick enough, I think. I mean, I think Fury and Usyk are about comparable speed wise. Nobody's too drastically better than the other.
Faster, Lucas. That's my point, man. He needs to be faster.
These are heavyweights. It's hard. I mean, even cruisers, they're usually not the quickest.
Man, he better be. He better be, or it's just gonna be another Chisora fight. He's gonna be battered the whole night.
I mean, I don't know. That's why I want to see this fight, because honestly, there's just so many questions that I want answered that really only Usyk can drum up. For Fury, we've seen everything else.
Let me ask you this, then. Fury's been knocked down by a cruiserweight before in Cunningham. Do you even think Usyk has that kind of power?
I think you can catch Fury, being lackadaisical and stuff like that. I don't think, and you're talking about the Cunningham knockdown, I think Usyk can still put Fury down. I mean, especially like punches like that. It was a flash knockdown more than anything. He wasn't really all that hurt. And yeah, I do think Usyk can do that. But are we really talking about Usyk getting like a TKO or a KO? No, if Usyk wins, we're talking about a decision, and even that is it's hard to come by. It's harder to be Usyk and his style against a guy like Fury and those long arms, the height. He's already not measuring up to heavyweight because of his weight and his height, but to have that guy leaning on you like that, and then not just leaning on you, going from Vladimir, right, to backing up and then boxing his head off, that's going to be tough to contend with. I think Usyk is actually the only chance we have of seeing Fury actually getting a loss, but I'm not even sure if Usyk can pull that off.
Well, Javi, I want to know your opinion, because what I said was that in order for Usyk to be competitive in this fight, he needs to throw more punches and he needs to be quicker.
Well, I honestly, I'm agreeing with Lucas. I feel like if there's any heavyweight right now that has a chance that might upset Fury in his saga, I think it would be Usyk, because AJ, I think it will be a competitive fight and very interesting, and we still like to see that. I think Fury is pretty much gonna come out victorious with a higher chance. Usyk could be more of a problem because the movement, the southpaw, is gonna force Fury to boxing there, which he is a good boxer, especially for his size. But I feel like with the experience and the pedigree that Usyk has, he can definitely not just take advantage of a few mistakes that Fury does, but make some of the stuff that he does, talking about Usyk, work himself so he can, outpoint or, get the benefit of the round per se.
So both of you just think he's got what it takes to beat him. Okay.
I feel like if somebody has a chance, it'll be Usyk. I don't think AJ. Anybody has a chance, but I feel like if we put it by ratings, I feel like Usyk has a higher chance. Then it will be, I guess, AJ, and then maybe Ruiz, because even though Ruiz is a little too short, even though he's like 6'1", 6'2", but that's considered a little bit too short for the heavyweights of now. And honestly, I don't see nobody else right now giving him problems.
If Fury overlooked a guy like Ruiz, I could definitely see Ruiz like surprising him and catching him, because Ruiz is surprisingly quick, right? And Rob, that's what you said. You need to beat Fury. You need to be fast. That's what Ruiz has. I mean, arguably, probably the fastest hands at heavyweight.
Yeah,
Probably. Yeah.
I agree with that.
It could be the case, but think about it. I mean, what was the guy that gave him problems? They gave him the big cut prior to the rematch or the trilogy with Wilder. I forgot.
Otto Wallen.
Wallen gave him a lot of trouble.
He did.
And Wallen was just, I wouldn't say basic, but Otto Wallen is kind of like a heavyweight Danny Garcia, which he's not that flashy, but he does a little bit of everything really good. It makes it work for him. And he gave Fury a lot of trouble, got him, having to shift to like second gear, third gear. And I feel like Usyk will do that and capitalize a lot more than Wallen did.
Yeah, I mean, he's very textbook Wallen, and Usyk takes that book and then, wrote his own chapter in it too. So I don't know. I mean, Rob, right now, if we had to call it, do you agree that Usyk is really the only chance for a Fury upset?
No. No.
Do you think
No.
there's others than Ruiz that we mentioned? I mean, is there anybody else that you think could upset Fury?
Not at this point. Not with the current top dogs in the heavyweight division that we have. Maybe some prospects down the line, some guys maybe that we're unaware at this point, but no, I don't see nobody taking them because they're not. I don't see nobody taking them right now.
You know what I want? I want Wilder to go to a more technical coach. I really do. If you get that guy to be able to plant his feet right, actually have them underneath his shoulders like they're supposed to be, and have even like any kind of a base to fight off of, Wilder's a monster. I mean, most of what he does incorrectly, but he's still knocking everybody out. You know, honestly, Wilder's power keeps him in there. And anytime Wilder and Fury fight, I think there's a chance Fury can get knocked out. I mean, especially after watching the first fight, you know, I think we all thought he was knocked out. But Fury came to life like the other.
But he got a 15 count, so it's all.
But even on the, I think I can't remember the second one, but I think even on the third one, Fury was down.
Yeah,
Fury was among the first one to go down before they started dropping each other. But yeah, the thing about, I mean, I kind of see what you're saying, Lucas, about him going to like a more technical coach. But
is it too late for that now?
I don't feel like I'm not saying that we've seen the best of Wilder yet, but I feel like with his style and his tremendous power, we wouldn't see much of a difference for him being with the most technical coach. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the guy does a lot of things that is probably not the most conventional things, and he gets away with it because of his power and size. But it was working for him until it wasn't working for him no more. You know, it only took some guy like, I feel like before even Fury, I feel like Steve Earn kind of like exposed him a little bit when he took him to the later rounds. Yep. Then King Kong also did it again, and then we could see like, okay, well, if this guy cannot connect that right hand, he doesn't have a left hook. He doesn't have a something to rely on. It's just that right hand. And Fury capitalized on that and once again and again and again. And you can see like most of the time, except for the first fight, the second and third, you can see that the game plan was to like bum rush, rough up Wilder and literally take away the right hand by staying on the pocket, because he connected some of the right hands, but it wasn't at the end of the punches when you get your full leverage. It was like a wild right hand where it wasn't really torquing any power from the legs, so it wasn't doing the damage that usually does when Wilder is throwing from a comfortable point of shooting, and that's what Tyson Fury took away from him. Like, I'm not gonna let you get comfortable and shoot your shots because I'm gonna bum rush you. I'm gonna make this fight my fight. And I think anybody that can do that to Wilder pretty much can take away the power.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and that's definitely what he did. But I mean, I'm trying to think like if Wilder had that base, he'd be able to actually keep him at bay with the range and the jab. Been able to actually set up a shot and set up the right hand instead of just wildly throwing the right hand. I mean,
and a few tweaks, just a few tweaks of the fundamentals in the sport. Build up a jab. You know what I'm saying? Build up a couple more punches. Build up some combinations. Do something other than look to land one punch.
It may be a little bit too late for all that now. I don't know. I mean, he's getting up there. I mean, he was already talking about retirement, so who knows? Yeah. But regardless, I want to see Fury Usyk. I do not want to see Fury Joyce. I don't. Not yet.
I feel like I wouldn't mind that as long as like it's kind of like what we're doing with Tank and Ryan Garcia, right? They're both gonna fight somebody else before they give us that fight that we want to do. So I wouldn't mind that Joyce Fury before we see the Usyk Fury. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and maybe Usyk can fight somebody interesting too. I don't know. You have the boys. You have the baby Miller guy. There's a few guys out there that they can pretty much throw in the mix, and it'll be interesting because I mean King Kong I don't think King Kong is the top five right now. The heavyweight like he used to be. He used to be in the top four, and Ruiz is yeah, he's kind of solidified his spot, but like I don't see Ruiz really like putting himself or position himself in order to get a shot at Fury or something like that. So I'm okay to see that tune-up fight before we see a good matchup.
Joyce necessarily in a tune-up. You could be a spoiler. You never know. I mean, I doubt it, but you never know. All right. Let's jump topics here. Let's talk about Estrada. Majority decision win over Chocolatito. I think that's actually what I said, wasn't it? Was that my prediction last week, Rob?
Yeah. Yeah, and I thought I said that too. I thought I said that.
We'll have to pull it back up. But yeah, I mean, I definitely saw an older Chocolatito in that first half of the fight. Do you think part of that was a plan? I mean, was he trying to wear him out early, letting him kind of wear himself out early? What was up with that? Because mid-fight there, I mean, that changed and old Chocolatito came out, but it was too little too late.
I mean, it had to be. I would hope so. Because yeah, it from the first half of the fight to the second half, it was night and day. It was like he was sleepwalking through the first half, and then the second half, here comes Chocolatito. So I don't know if he was trying to bait him, what he was trying to do, but he definitely looked not as ready as he normally should in that first half of that fight.
Yeah, I thought something was off. Javi, what do you say?
I feel like we pretty much saw a Chocolatito that's already coming down for the top of his prime. Not making excuses for the man because that was a good fight. These two are like pretty evenly matched in a lot of ways. So we're always gonna see this type of fireworks, that inside booth type of fight. But I feel like definitely Strada took advantage of the certain mistakes. He he kind of like was trying to make the fight his fight, and I'm not sure if the game plan Chocolatito was to bring him to the later rounds and kind of pace himself for that first half, but it looked like Chocolatito probably lost a little pep on his step, where Strada kind of like he brought it in, kind of like he wanted it more. He put that little extra, work that made it seem like okay, this you can see who's pretty much getting the little bit better of each exchange, each and every time. And I think that's what got Estrada the fight.
Where's Chocolatito go from here, bro?
You're 36. All your good years are behind you, not ahead. You're 36. I think it's time for one last fight. I'm gonna give him one last fight, and I'll tell you the fight. I would love to see Chocolatito Donaire. I would love to see a clash of the legends there. I would love to see that type of fight, and then hang him up right after.
Are they in the same weight though? I don't think they're in the same weight.
Yeah, Donaire is at that weight now.
Is it? I thought Donaire was
Because
actually heavier.
no,
Yeah,
Donaire is actually in line for Donaire. They saying could fight Estrada next. They're saying Donaire is still out there and still available at this weight. That's according to ESPN. But there are other options too. Nonito Donaire, a future Hall of Famer, was ringside and is primed for a bantamweight vacant title fight with Jason Maloney next year.
Okay.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
he is back in the mix.
Well, I mean, yeah, that jump. I mean, he can, even if he's not. I mean, the Estrada was actually fighting the 3 pounds below at the or the junior bantamweight. So technically, it would be like a step up. But I mean, 3 pounds is 3 pounds. I don't see a problem on why that fight can't get made. And I like it. I mean, Donaire's not necessarily, in his prime either. So make that fight happen. But in no way did Chocolatito get like demolished, right? Because we're talking about a majority decision. It was still a close fight. Chocolatito was still in this fight. Rob, I see you turn your eyes like, what? Come on,
because
man.
of what he did in the second half of the fight. The first half was so diminishing. It kind of makes you wonder. It really does. It makes you wonder. It was not a complete fight, period. And it took away some of the. For me, it took away some of the classiness of this bout. You know, I expected to see another classic fight, and what I saw in the first half was nothing close.
He got off to a rough start, but I don't think he's necessarily done. But I do agree with you. I think his better days are behind him. He's just got that age now.
Well, that's the problem, Lucas. There are killers. There are killers out there right now. There are killers in that division.
Oh, there's killers below 130. There's killers.
In this division,
I guess
there's killers. You got Joshua Franco. You got his little brother Bam Rodriguez. Those two are killers. Then you throw in the Maloney's. You got Jason Maloney out there. And again, he's a little weight class above, but he's not hard to get. You got Donaire now in the mix that could go for you there. You also got, the old vet still, Quadro still. You got Soren Visal still. And those guys can still compete to beat Chocolatito. But he's already been that route. So why keep this up? That's my question. Why keep it up?
I mean, if he can still compete with the top,
then he should have won the fight. Then he should have won the damn fight.
I mean, I think that was the main objective, but Estrada didn't let that happen. And again, I'm amazed by the 130 under knowledge, my man Rob. Even though it was a quick search from Google, it was okay. I like the fact that he can participate in this 130 guys, and realize like this is action packed guys, and yeah, they are the small guys. They throw a lot, they go to war, they take a punch, and they give us this exciting, fan friendly fights.
So it's not a Google search. I studied about and who could be up next for these guys on ESPN.com, the Bible of all sports. But I'm just saying though, man, these guys coming up right now are hungry and they're good. And you're forgetting somebody who's probably better, is better than all these guys once he actually makes his way up into the division. And y'all know who I'm talking about.
Tell us.
The monster, damn it. The monster.
Yeah.
He can kill all these guys once he makes his way up there.
You think he will?
He has to make his way. He has to make his way up there, period. He should be number one pound for pound one day, but he can't do it until he makes his way up there and he kills these guys in this division.
I mean, I hope it happens sooner rather than later, but I don't know. I don't know if he's actually going to be going up and taking those type fights. Regardless, it would be nice if it did happen.
Well, he better. You want to know why? because under 130 don't count. So you better start moving up.
Well, that leads me into where does Estrada go, because he's kind of sitting at the top of the division. I mean, everybody's gonna be gunning for him right now. Should he go up too? You want him to go up? I mean, you want everybody to go up, Rob, right? You just want everybody to jump weight.
Absolutely.
So you want him to go up too?
Absolutely. But again, there are names out there. Bam Rodriguez would be a great fight. The winner between Franco and Kazuto, they fight actually on New Year's Eve in Tokyo. So that would be a big clash. Bam Rodriguez would be a huge clash. If he does move up, that'll be more impressive to me. I think he should move up, but if he does, guess what? People are going to say he's ducking them younger guys.
I mean, people are going to say that anyway. It's boxing. We have the most fickle fans in the world, right?
Yeah.
I like Bam Rodriguez. I like Bam. I think if he takes a kid like that who's very hungry, very, very good, because Bam has wins over Bo Cern, Visal, and Quadros. So if you can take out that young cat, then you can definitely move up and be number one in the next weight class, because you pretty much beat everybody out there you needed to in this division.
Yeah, I mean, Bam's coming up. I mean, he's got the hobby seal of approval too. So, I mean, he's coming up. He is next, but whether we see him next against Estrada, I don't know. For some reason, I doubt that.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna come in yet, but definitely Bam has the hobby seal of approval. That man, I think when the time is due with these guys, Chocolatito, Strada, you know, maybe Quadras. I think some of the new guys are those, the Monster, and Bam, this kid from England too, Sonny Edwards. I think he's around that way as well. This is the new generation of super light, super featherweights that are going to kind of keep the division kind of interesting and make those people that say that 130 and under don't matter retract their words. You know what I'm saying? Because they're gonna make noise and they're gonna bring us fights that are gonna have people that say 130 under don't matter discussing about those 130s under. So I think that those are gonna be the guys to watch.
And if they keep fighting each other, then they can shut me up. But they got to keep fighting each other. One thing I did forget though, Lucas, if Chocolatito does want to hang it up, also he could try and defend those losses from Cern Visal. Because those were two brutal losses he faced. So he could actually even go that route, and I wouldn't be mad at him.
I think his family would be mad at him. I mean, those were some rough ass fights. I don't know if he's wanting to go back into that. And if I'm his manager, I'm steering him clear of R&B sound, man. I don't know.
Yeah. I think it would be very smart and tactical from his team to keep him away from that. I mean, I think the guy got his number. He's a great champion. You win, you try, you did your best. Wasn't really, the guy pretty much got his number. So why going out like that? Like that's it. Leave that alone. Move on from that chapter of your life, and try to close your own career, your own show the way in a good positive note. And then that's it. This a lot of people think that this was mostly like a cash out type of fight for Chocolatito. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't mad if he's taking a few of those because. This guys age very quickly. You know what I'm saying? They're small. They throw a lot more. Their output is a lot more. So the boxing they really go through wars. They really take more punishment, and they dish out a lot. So they age a little quicker than the guys that throw less.
Yeah, I mean he was set on top of the pound for pound lists for a long time. So Chocolatito, and I know Rob back when he was on pound for pound list, Chocolatito was like, Chocolatito ain't shit. You were like, you don't deserve to be up there because 135.
He proved me right though. When I was saying that, he proved me right because he lost twice when he was up there.
he had been up there for a long time before he lost, bro.
Not in my eyes.
This is the Mayweather effect. He lost twice, so he ain't shit. Man, he there's a lot of champions, great ones, Hall of Famers that lost more than twice, and we talked about them. They're legends in the sport, and it was back then when they fought the top five, the top 10. It's like we want these guys to test themselves and fight the tough guys, but when they do and they lose, we dismiss them. Oh, you trash. Oh, you were hype. Oh, you was never worth it. Bro, like we asked for them to fight these fights. They gave us those fights. Yeah, maybe they didn't come out victorious. That doesn't mean that you're gonna dismiss all their accomplishments. You know what I mean? Like, what happens? What happens if, let's say, what happens if Terence or Spence, they fight each other and they lose, then they fight again, and then one of them lose again. So that's it. They trash. They were just hype. It was just
that's why I had my question. Javi. So Canelo still number one pound for pound, according to you?
He's not number one, obviously, because he lost. But I don't think he's trash. Is he trash? Is he trash? Like, was he just hype? It was like I don't think so. And I personally feel like Canelo lost a lot more than just twice. A lot more than that. In reality, Canelo should have 4 or 5 L's, and I will be more happy if Lara would have got his win, like it should have been. If Golovkin would have got his first win, and then I wouldn't be mad or dismiss Canelo because he tested himself. He fought guys that was top 10, and maybe he didn't come out victorious, but we know what happened. We all know what happened.
Yeah, I mean, those are the reasons that boxing makes you just lose your mind sometimes. Those kind of decisions. Andre Ward versus Kovalev too, that first fight. It's so angering to watch. Like you the decision, right? And you're waiting for it, and then it comes out the complete opposite. And you're like, what the hell did I just see?
I like guys who are pound for pound, who are undefeated and stay undefeated. Just like you mentioned, Lucas, Andre Ward, the great Andre Ward, the great Floyd Mayweather. Those are my guys, pound for pound. I'll just say that. Tyson Fury.
All right, so only those three. All the other champions they're not worthy.
Ain't shit. So Ali ain't shit.
I guess.
I need you to hear. I need to hear you say Ali ain't shit on air.
Ali ain't shit.
Oh man.
Sorry, Dad.
Yeah, I was about to say. All right. Let's talk Crawford's upcoming fight here this weekend. Rob, I'm gonna ask you because we got 2 main events that are pretty similar. We got Teofimo Lopez taking on Sander Martin, and then of course we have this fight with Crawford taking on David Avanesyan.
I have more questions for Teo's fight than I do Crawford. I think this was very calculated for Terence. I don't think that this guy. I think this guy will possess enough talent to show up in the ring with Crawford, and that's it. That's it. Just show enough talent to be able to sit there in the ring with Crawford, and then it's gonna be just another Terence Crawford show. Just easy pickings for him. Pick the guy apart, make him look bad, make his mother cry, all that stuff. So that's what I see. I mean, like I said, Crawford's gonna go out there and respect the guy and act like he's tough, and he's gonna get in the ring and demolish him, and it's gonna be embarrassing that, man, you'll never hear from this guy again. That's the MO for Terence Crawford's opponents. Whether you know them or not, Amir Khan, never heard from him again. Kell Brook, never hear from him again. All the other guys, never hear from him again. Sean Porter retired right after that fight.
I wouldn't necessarily say it was because of Crawford though, but I mean, last guy that we didn't know about that fought Crawford actually hurt Crawford. He put a little bit of sting. And I can't remember his name right now, but it was the dude that he fought. I think before his last fight, not this one. I think before Porter. And I one thing that I've learned is just because I don't know about a guy doesn't mean that I'm gonna completely dismiss him and write him off. Like, oh, who? Avanesyan? Who's this guy? You know what? Trash. Who cares? He ain't shit. I'm not about to do that because a lot of people were doing that with Vivo, and when nobody knew about Vivo, and look what he did to Canelo. You know what I'm saying? Just because we don't know a guy doesn't mean that the guy ain't earned his chips. So I'm gonna give the man his benefit of the doubt, and I feel like it could be the Crawford show, or it could be a long night where maybe the opponent didn't come to collaborate. He came to screw the party, and it can make it messy.
Yeah, Crawford kind of worries me sometimes with the switching back from southpaw to orthodox. He kind of does it willy nilly at sometimes, and he shouldn't be doing it as much as he does. And he likes to get hurt early on in the fight for some reason. It's happened multiple fights, and I'm worried about that. So I'm always worried backing up Terence Crawford. Now he is very talented, but I'm worried and still suspect about that chin. Let's face it, Crawford. The only fight he has is Porter, and Porter retired after that fight. And Porter was in that fight. That fight was close. Then Porter got dropped twice, and then the fight was over in the 10th.
So
Porter's been through some wars. Crawford is still really yet to prove himself. Yeah, you cleared out the 140, but really, I mean, who did you beat? He has no significant fight as of now. And this is why Spence is getting, the bulk amount, and why Terence Crawford probably knows that he needs to take the lesser amount. But it is what it is. I mean, Rob, what were you going to say?
backtracking to Javi, my question then, Javi, are you talking about Mean Machine? The Mean Machine who fought him or whatnot? Because this is why I say that this fight is a Terence Crawford same category. Because guess who the Mean Machine has a TKO win against? David but however you pronounce this guy's name. So he already so yeah, come on guys. This is just a show for a showman to come out here and put on his show for us all. I'm not mad at it. Mayweather did it all the time. He tried to get the fight with Spence. They wouldn't give him what he wanted. So I'm not mad at it, but let's not be naive here. This is the Crawford show, and that's how it's built on, and that's what's going to happen.
Rob, we know just because somebody beats somebody else doesn't mean that person can beat that person. That's not how this works, right?
Yes, it does. Damn
it. I'm really hoping we see Terence Crawford in a better fight. Really, I think in the only competition, like I said, was Porter. And I mean, look, there's cards that had Porter ahead. Oh, wait, maybe not. It was close. Let's see, 87, 84, 86, 85, and 86, 85 at the time of stoppage. So, I mean, Porter was in there, and he was definitely not in his prime anymore. So, I don't know. I'm all for Crawford getting a real fight now. This is pay-per-view, and I'm not hoping, anything bad happening, but I really don't think this is going to do great numbers. I think it's going to do really, really bad.
But the caveat, but you know what? He's putting it on the network that doesn't even have a name. So any publicity for this network he's putting it on is good publicity.
I mean, yes and no. Pay-per-view, though, unfortunately, it limits your audience, right? Terence Crawford needs as much eyes on him as he can get to get and demand this Spence fight. By putting yourself in a pay-per-view, you are locking and limiting the amount of people that are going to be able to see your ass. I would try to get on to free channels or try to get on to ESPN, but he already got out of Bob Arum, so that's probably not going to happen, right?
Yeah, this
Crawford wants to
definitely
make
was a fight that probably would have been on ESPN.
Crawford wants to make a statement, right? And he can't do that on a pay-per-view for some channel that no one knows. He can't. It's not going to
Yeah,
happen.
this probably was going to be a fight that should have registered on ESPN.
Bad
But
idea. It is a bad
but
idea.
unfortunately for Crawford, damned if you do, because Bob Arum couldn't get him the Spence fight. That's what all he wanted, and Crawford ain't a good promoter himself. Period.
Obviously, he couldn't get the fight either. He realized now that it's not only your promoter. You have to work with that other promoter now, right? And once you do that, if they're not playing ball or if they pretend to play ball just to, throw you up one hill and down the other and then say, oh, well, we tried to make it happen. It didn't work. Look, Bob Arum is a lot of things, you can call him what you like, but he's a businessman. And when it comes down to it, he tries to make fights. I don't even interpromotional. You will see
So
the
again,
person that does not like to be, inclusive is actually Al Heyman, because PBC does not do a lot of co-promotional.
Okay, again, to me, Bob Arum couldn't get him that fight.
He can't get himself that fight.
And
but now who can't get that fight?
The issue with Spence
exactly
is that he's scared. Period.
I'll
say it
you
right
think
now.
Spence is scared of Crawford?
Absolutely. Why not guarantee him a purse? Period. That's saying you're scared. That's saying you're scared.
Spence.
Why? Because what you're saying is you're not worth me giving you a purse, because when you beat me, you'll make more off the second fight. That's what they're saying.
I mean, that's true, but that's not Spence. I mean, that's Heyman. That's the management. That's the promotion.
That's what they're saying.
Yeah,
that's
but
what they're saying.
I agree. That is very suspect. Like, why not offer some kind of guaranteed money? I never understood that at all. It is very suspect. When you offered, especially Spence's last fights, have gotten offers of, $5 million guaranteed and $3 million guaranteed. What's the problem? Crawford should be making, more than the last fighters that you faced. So why can't you guarantee at least the same amount and then share the pay-per-view rights or whatever have you? But the road that Crawford is going down is a very steep one, Rob, because we've seen it. It kills careers. Okay. It may not be as bad, but he is Andrade-esque, right? Demetrius Andrade is going that route, right? Because he doesn't have anybody else to fight. At least no one that anybody cares about. Look, I don't mean any offense to Avanesyan. I'm sure he's a great fighter, but he needs that big name. We've been saying Crawford's pound for pound, but now we can't say it anymore because he hasn't fought nobody, man. His career is stagnant. Just nothing we want to watch. Nothing.
I mean, I wholeheartedly agree with that. And that tells you this opponent obviously tells you that there was no plan B or C if the Spence deal fell through. And that again is due to lack of promotion, because he could have honestly tried to line up Keith Thurman. We'd pay to see that. Mm-hmm. He could have lined up Keith Thurman. He could have lined up, somebody else over there. Now, especially now that he's able to work with PBC, he could have lined something else up. So the problem I have is these guys like this who he's trying to fight that aren't in the same caliber whatsoever. All it does is show his caliber, and we don't see him tested at all.
No. And, that it's a steep slope too, because if you're not constantly making improvements, or at least improving your challenges, making them harder on yourself, you're eventually just going to hit that wall. And then when you do finally get, a challenge, you might not be able to live up to it. And that's not saying that he wouldn't have, should it have occurred like it was supposed to. But he's not getting these opportunities. And honestly, we're not in the boardroom. I can't say who's doing what, but we know two things, right? We know obviously Crawford was still kind of dealing this fight on the side as a little suspect, right? But then you also have Spence and his team not guaranteeing any money. So can you really blame Crawford for reaching out and just saying, I'm going to go a different way?
And let's not negate the fact that he agreed. He agreed to no guaranteed purse. He just wanted to make sure your expenditures, because it's his expenditures, are not outrageous. That's all he asked. What are you trying to spend my money on? What are you trying to spend my profit on?
And Al Heyman don't want nobody knowing what he spends his money on.
What he spends his money on. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Man, I it's the same with Andrade. Like I feel like we haven't seen what these fighters are capable of. Andrade's worse because who's he fought? Like Vanes Royenson was like his toughest fight. I can't remember, even a memorable fight, and it's starting to get that way with Crawford for me. Other than Porter's, like, what we got? I really hope we see Crawford in a meaningful fight. And again, I don't mean any, offense to Avanesyan. He just needs that big, meaningful fight. He's getting up there in age. Crawford's not going to be young forever. He's in the prime, but you never know. Everybody's prime's different. He could be heading out of that prime in any minute. So, let's hope he gets somewhere. I honestly do think, though, Crawford ended things with Top Rank and thought, I'm going to be able to make some deals now. And now he's realizing it's not all on Aram, right? Like, there's other shit going on that people don't want to do business with me. It's not as easy as, everybody makes it seem. You can't just end this promotion. All of a sudden you got a fight lined up. Even when you're in the same promotion, you will have different management teams that you have to, fight with, right? So,
yeah, grass ain't always greener. Yeah,
it's really not. Let's talk about Tio. So Sandor, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, I'm actually interested in this fight because Sandor at least has a big win over somebody. I don't know the Mikey Garcia situation. I don't know. Obviously he checked out the sport because he retired. I don't know if that played a part in it. I don't know if Mikey wasn't ready. I don't know if this guy is that good. He's just that good. And that's intriguing to me because Sandor Martin obviously has proven that he's disciplined enough to take a big fight serious and do the unthinkable because he had one of the biggest upsets in boxing history. And he's fighting yet another guy in Teofimo Lopez who has mental issues there with period. So that's what's interesting to me is you're looking at this bout, you're trying to figure out which Tio is going to show up, and you want to figure out what actually Sandor Martin has because this is a last minute replacement. So this is also, it also has that ramification in there because this is a replacement fight. For me, in my opinion, those two things are both interesting in this bout.
I'm looking forward to this one. I agree more than Crawford, and this one's probably ESPN too, isn't it?
This one is ESPN. directly after the Heisman, because T.O. kind of owns that spot right now.
Oh man.
He better hope he don't get Heisman that night.
Underneath this, we will also have Jared Anderson fighting again, so we get to see more of him and him building himself. I think we've talked about Jared Anderson in the past. I didn't really like what I saw last from him, so I will be definitely checking out his fight against Jerry Forrest. But Tio versus Sandor Martin, I agree with you. Was Martin on that day versus Mikey Garcia, or was Mikey Garcia severely off? Because it kind of looked a little of both, right? So we don't really know how good Sandor Martin is.
Yeah, but I mean, we don't know if Tio's going to be off.
You never do. But when Tio is on, I think if Tio's at his best, he takes Sandor Martin in this one. I think. Am I speaking for you picking Tio and Terence Crawford, right?
Terence Crawford in a big way. Terence, TKO, KO, either one of the two. Big time there. Look, Tio likes the primetime ESPN slot because it's directly after the Heisman, which means people will be watching. And this was his coming out party when he had a knockout on the undercard. I believe on the Lomachenko undercard, actually. So he knows how to take advantage of that. This is going to be a tough opponent for him, though. So I think if he scores the knockout, he'll actually build his fan base back up. The problem is that'll probably go to his head, but that's Tio. I think Tio should knock out Sandor Martin in the middle rounds. I don't think he should let it go to the later rounds whatsoever. I think if it goes to the later rounds, then we will actually see a better Martin than Tio.
Yeah, I think Tio's going to come out with fury. I mean, he's going to be trying to get Sandor Martin out of there in the first few rounds. And I agree with you, Rob. I think if he can't, it might be a long night because we've seen Tio kind of, for lack of a better word, blow his load a little early, and then he kind of fizzles out. And I mean, it definitely could happen again. Even a bad Mikey Garcia is still really good. So the fact that he was able to win a majority decision over Mikey Garcia, even on an off night, still says a lot, still says he's very capable. So this is actually an interesting fight, but I think most people are going to be picking, 99.9% of people are picking Tio for the KO.
I'll tell you what, though.
He has not been stopped.
Right.
Sandor Martin has not been stopped.
And I'm telling you, if Tio thinks he's just going to come in there and get a knockout and not set it up, he's going to be in trouble because then he's going to get frustrated because Martin's not going anywhere. He's not going to go anywhere. So he has to be calculated and set up the knockout, which is why it should go to the middle rounds. It's not going to be 1-2 round knockout. He's just not going to be able to do that, I feel. It should go to 5, 6, maybe slightly after 6. But if Martin is still in there after 6 and he gets into those what they call championship rounds, Tio would have been in for a long night. You're absolutely right.
This is that's weird. They were slated for 10 rounds, but this is for a title, so it's got to be 12. Huh.
Is it a title or a title eliminator?
Now, this is for the WBO International Super Light. Huh. Makes sense. No, it's not a It's a 12 rounder. I think it's listed differently in BoxRec. ESPN has it listed as a 12 rounder, but regardless, I think this is the fight really for the weekend, especially because you don't have to pay for it. Crawford Avanesyan. Is that $39.99? And that is on
$39.99.
and that is on BLK Prime.
BLK Prime.
If you want to watch it, that is a new app, and I'm not dogging the app. I mean, they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, reaching out to talent. Apparently, they're going to have Bronner on the app as well. I'm all for that unless everything's pay per view, and then in which case I really don't need BLK Prime. But if it's your thing, reach out. I mean, definitely check it out. All right, Rob. I think that not all yet. Hang on, because I did see something I wanted to talk about here. Chris Cyborg is fighting. You see that?
So Chris Cyborg is the former MMA star, correct?
Yeah.
The ladies MMA star.
Right.
So
And
she's now into boxing, is what you're saying?
as she's listed on the pay per view for Crawford, she's taking on Gabby Holloway. A 4-round junior middleweight fight.
That's cool.
That's interesting.
Where the hell did they get this fight from?
I have no idea. And why, they should be promoting that. I mean, right? Like, Cyborg is a big name in the MMA world, right?
Yeah, but
it's not a selling point for them.
She was. I don't think
follow MMA that closely, so.
Man, that's a good question though. What is this card? What type of card are they bringing? Because I would have just put Terence Crawford up there.
I mean, yeah, this card's a little all over the place. You got heavyweights, light heavyweights. You got that women's fight, so it's a little awkward. I mean, honestly, why would you not
call it out? What is it?
Garbage. Why would you not put? Why would you not at least
put
but
maybe somebody know? Okay, so
why would you not put Cyborg on like any kind of promotional thing or like also featuring Cyborg like first pro boxing, something?
Yeah, well, this is her U.S. debut. She's 1-0, so she did fight in one fight or whatever. Right. But again, she's an old MMA star. I don't think a lot of people are concerned with her boxing career. Then you have a 10-round featherweight fight with Arnold Kigai from Ukraine, who will face Edgardo Baez.
Yeah,
Then you have Jeremiah Dreamland Milton, who's 7-0, going toe-to-toe against Dejon Calloway in a 6-round bout. And then opening the telecast, you have an 8-round light heavyweight bout with Steven Nelson versus James Balliard, which Nelson is Omaha. I mean, it's a bunch of yeah.
It is a little weird, yeah. DAZN does have some more boxing, so it's a big boxing weekend. You got Josh Warrington taking on Luis Alberto Lopez, and that's for Warrington's IBF title. And then, of course, we also have the beautiful Ebony Bridges taking on Shannon O'Connell, and that's for Bridges' IBF bantamweight title as well. So, if you're a boxing fan, you definitely should be able to find something this weekend. Rob, any rapid fire for the night? Any other topics you want to touch on?
No, I'm good. We do want to say, rest in peace, the great Mills Lane. That was a blow to boxing, but he was 85 years old. Great referee, y'all. Check out some of his fights. He's called great ones.
Yeah, I mean, he was there for the infamous ear bite incident. And
Right.
of course, he was on MTV Celebrity Deathmatch. But yeah, great ref. Some of the, I mean, I'm sure he's in the Hall of Fame. If he's not, he definitely will be. But
No, he definitely is a Hall of Fame.
I was sure it was. But yeah, Mills Lane is sad to see him go. We've been losing a lot year 2022.
Yeah, we've been losing a lot of greats.
For sure. All right. Well, definitely check us out. All of our social media at Heavy Bag Boxing, our website, www.heavybagboxing.com. And just for a little spoiler, we do have one put up by Jules, one of our newer articles, which is basically saying, can the Money Team Promotions, can it survive without Gervonta Tank Davis in it? Pretty interesting. Check it out. Again, heavybagboxing.com. Thank you for listening. Check us out again next week, every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Have a good night.